Live. All righty. You are looking live. It's sold out MetLife Stadium where today, excuse me, getting choked up here. The 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 New Orleans Saints. And why are the New Orleans Saints 0-16? Because they suck. They might have won the game today, but they suck. New Orleans sucks. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there all is going to spend a little bit of time here this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. Going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free, fire away, throw it in the chat box. Yeah, usually try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. But plus also, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free and fire away. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon, second one's called the Lawrence Taylor, and the third membership level I got is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them, so if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me, and I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, and hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. Then finally, also a little ways down in the description, a little farther down in the description box, there's 2 other links. The top one's a Facebook link, which I'll get to in just a second. The other one, to me, I'm an old fart. It's Twitter. It's always been Twitter. It's be Twitter today, it's Twitter tomorrow, it'll always be Twitter, right? My Twitter account, okay, whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants to call it, that's on him. It's Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, I will follow you back. I usually try to put some stuff Giants related, of course, in my Twitter account every day, right? So if you follow me, I will follow you back. And then finally, also, the link just above it, it takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. Very original, I know. We have over 7,400 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, if I have internet access, I got stuff going in this group 365. I just put a ton of stuff in there today. Unfortunately, it was not of the most positive, shall we say, after the game today. But I put a bunch of stuff in there today. And if I become, I put stuff in there, but if you become a member, members post stuff in there as well, too. So between me and the members, there's a ton of New York Giants information going into this group every day. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. Please become a member. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. All right, well, all that stuff said and done and out of the way with. Well, I'll tell you what, hard to get started. Yeah. Wow, wonder how about those Cowgirls, huh? I know it's Giants related and the Giants and this, that, and the other thing and all that stuff and everything. But tell you what, those Cowgirls certainly did not look very good at all. I mean, they had I was following the game. They had like 50, 60 yards passing, or 50 yards passing going into the fourth quarter. And I mean, man, Buffalo manhandled them. Just straight up biatch slapped them. Man, Cowgirls not looking too good. I think they won last week. I think they thought that was their Super Bowl. They forgot they have a few more games to play this season, and they're going to play the Dolphins next week. Then they're going to play the Lions. So the Cowgirls were in first place for 1 week, and now they're out of it, unless the Eagles lose tomorrow to the Seahawks on Monday night. And Jalen Hurts may not be some type of illness. He may not play. That may not be very good for the Eagles, so we'll have to wait and see. One thing you do know is that the Eagles are going to be all fired up and pissed off and ready to take on the Giants next weekend. So they ain't resting nobody. So Giants are in for another rumble in South Philly next weekend. But I'll tell you what, the game today was not by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, it was 7-6, right? At halftime. That's about all I can really much say. We do have this number 7 overall pick as of right now. So, I mean, if you want to looking for any type of a bright spot, all right, we still have number 7. Okay, the Jets are right above us. They're number 6. But you look at some of these stats. It's just, 12 first downs, 2 out of 16 on third down conversions. I mean, the Saints were 6 out of 12. These were 3 out of 5 on fourth down conversions, I guess. But between third and fourth down conversion, we were 5 out of 21. I mean, what the heck is that? Less than 25%. That's not going to get it done. I mean, we just, somehow we actually had more plays than the Saints did, but we had 193. I mean, of course, we had almost well over 200 yards of offense, which is still absolutely ungodly pathetic. But we took one huge leap for mankind last week with 2 quarterback hits and no sacks, and this week was like the exact opposite. I mean, exact opposite. I mean, we could. I mean, it was just like the offensive line was like a sieve. I mean, as well as we did last week with running the ball and protection, and maybe not always so much protection, but Tommy was able to get moving with his feet and all that stuff and everything. It was like the exact opposite. And I mean, it wasn't like, the Saints coming in this game weren't like they were like gangbusters, right? I mean, on as far as, I mean, it's not like, it wasn't like the 85 Bears or anything like that. I mean, their quarterback rush was very good today. They had a great game plan. I mean, they really shut. I mean, the other thing was that their run defense was very susceptible, and we could not do much of anything against their run. I mean, let's see. What do we? I mean, let me say. I know because DeVito scrambled a few times here. So let me get his stats out of here. So between Breida and Barkley, what do we got? The killer bees here. They ran 12 times for 24 yards, 2 yards a carry. I mean, against the Saints team that gave up well over 130 yards, I believe it was a game. I think they were giving up. I mean, it was just the run defense was not good at all, and we were our running backs could get Saquon 9 carries for 14 yards. His longest run for the day was 4 yards. If it wasn't for DeVito, he ran 4 times for 36. Of course, the one, he had that nice scramble there, but and I'm watching it right now. I mean, I can tell you what, I can almost I'm looking at it right now. He's going down. He turns his back. The guy doesn't hit him in the helmet or nothing like that, right? Doesn't really hit him in the helmet. He hits him in the upper back. DeVito turns his back, right? Hits him in the upper back. He's got to learn to get down a little bit faster. But I can almost 100%, it just goes to show you. I mean, you just looking at that is that, if that was like Aaron Rodgers or somebody like that, if that was Patrick Mahomes, the flags would be coming out. Personal foul. That guy is disqualified. He won't be able to, what I mean? So it depends upon, like who it is too. If that was Tom Brady, somebody, one of the big name quarterbacks, flags be coming out, baby. Oh yeah. But because it was Tommy DeVito, football, right? But I can almost guarantee if that was some other quarterbacks in the league, so if there was some quarterbacks that the NFL can't afford to lose, right? flags would be coming out. Flags would be flying. That would be 15 yards, half the distance or whatever it was to the goal. Absolutely. But, it just depends upon who it is. But he's got to learn to get down a little bit faster. For the most part, he turned his back. The guy looked like he hit him with his shoulder. It wasn't like he hit him in the head or not. And it's also, to be fair, to be honest, okay, it doesn't matter who the defender is, whose team it is. That's a very, very difficult thing to, just the way a lot of times they call it. There's a flag a lot of times. As I said, but also sometimes it's like, who's the quarterback? If it's a Patrick Mahomes, But it's, to be fair to the defender, it's a very tough thing because you're coming in, right? Well, say the guy doesn't slide. You're coming in, right? So you're going in and make the tackle. You don't know when the guy's if he's gonna slide, when he's gonna slide, and all. So all of a sudden, he goes down at the last minute, right? He starts sliding down at the last minute. It's tough. It's a very, very difficult situation to put any defender in. I certainly would like to see a penalty called on it, but at least he came back in the game, right? His stats weren't too bad, but and what makes it even worse, okay, is we had no running game, right? We have no pass protection. What was he? 20 out of 34, right? 177 yards. He got sacked 7 times for 52 yards, but no interceptions. Once again, I think, is this 4 games in a row? Is it 4 games in a row he hasn't thrown an interception? So he's doing a very good job as far as protecting the ball. And once again, he had 4 carries for 36 yards. So once he had over 200 yards of total offense, but it just goes to show you, we need the offensive line. I said you can, you take it for what it's worth. I said, you look at last week they did a pretty good job holding the Packers at bay. This week was a totally different story. I said, what I would like to see them do, I said, if one of those tackles falls to the Giants, because you look at it right now, we're 5-9, right? You look at it, we got a real good chance of losing the 2 games to the Eagles. Just be honest with you. Just being honest, right? So that's 5-11, right? The Ram game, that's kind of that's a little up in the air. We're home though, okay. So it's gonna be a late game. Let's see. Would that be so there? Okay, that'll be right? No, right? The 31st. 31st? Is that the 31st? So it'll still be in December. I was going to say that's a January game. No, it still might be December 31st, Sunday, right? So, but it's late December in New Jersey. So you don't know what the weather is going to be like, the wind, rain, snow, whatever. You don't know. So get the Rams coming. Rams can put up some points. That'll be a tough game. That'll be, the Giants could win, but they could certainly lose as well too, because the Rams are fighting for a playoff spot, right? And that won't be the final game of the season. There'll still be one additional game, so the Rams might still be in it for a playoff spot. So that could be a huge game for the Rams. But you look at realistically, right? We're 5-9. You're probably looking quite possibly 2 losses against the Eagles. Now you're talking 5-11, right? Even if we wind up winning, have six wins, so that'll certainly keep us definitely in the top 10. I'll keep saying what I would like is just looking at this. We're saying it every year. We're past 900 years. We got to fix the offensive line. If one of those tackles falls to us, I would love this. Just take a tackle. And just say, Evan, thanks, pal. Put your arm around him. And maybe, hey, kiddo, how you doing? Or I'm sorry, Evan Neal is up here. Hey, hey, kiddo, how you doing up there? How's the weather? Huh? Is there any oxygen up there? Yeah. Okay, good. Look, we appreciate all you've done. I love you. Right? You can hate my guts and all, but we're going to try you a guard. Okay. All right, pal. All right. We're drafting a tackle guy coming in. We know he's going to take care of. You know what I mean? Just. Yeah. You got Andrew Thomas, right? So we got John Michael Schmitz. He should get better as time goes by. Right? He should get not that he's doing a horrible job this season, but I mean, if he works on his strength, right, and maybe each year he can get a little bit better, a little bit. He's just a rookie, right? He's got a lot of great traits to him. Is he ever going to be like an all-pro or anything like that? Quite possibly not. But is he going to be could he quite possibly be a decent center in this league for years to come? Yep. If he works on his craft, if he gets stronger, starts, learns, develops, and as I said, strength and everything like that, he can certainly become a nice center for us. So I think, if you want to look forward, we got our left tackle and we got our center, right? I said, if one of those tackles falls to us, I'm grabbing him. I'm just straight up grabbing him. Sorry, Evan. Put one of those tackles. Right tackle. Yeah, I mean, as long as they can play right tackle, then you have your three tackle. You take Evan and you put Evan next to Andrew, because Evan in Alabama, as his first season that he played left guard. Then they moved him to right tackle. Then they moved him to left tackle, right? But he played pretty well at left guard, especially that was his first season in Alabama. And it wasn't, according to PFF, was not his best graded out season at left guard, but he did well. He did well. It was his first season. Right? You go to SEC. I mean, you're with the big boys there, and he graded out pretty darn well, right? If he had been there for all 3 seasons, Lord knows what he could have done, possibly could have done, right? But he was just there. He just had him there for 1 year, and so he moved him. So we know he has some flexibility, right? I said, but put him in there at left guard next to Andrew. Let those two guys work together and develop next to each other and get the comfort level and all that. Man, it could be fantastic. Could be really could be great. And I said, and then the second round, there's supposed to be from I'm understanding, it could be good wide receiver class. Good quarterback class, right? Could be a good offensive line, the wide receivers and the quarterbacks. So I mean, in the second round, there should be a good guard there. Maybe the third round, whatever. Take another guard. It'd be hard to say. Just go fix the offensive line. I'll tell you what. I mean, we're on pace. One of these articles I'm going to read, I forgot what the hell we were on pace for. It was 80-something sacks we're on pace for. It's like, you were kind of hoping that after last week when we played the Packers that, I guess, we only gave up 2 sacks. I'm sorry. We didn't give up any sacks last week against Green Bay. So the rest of the season, we're not going to give up any sacks. That's asking a bit much, but it was no sacks last week. 7 this week. Then you got the 2 against the Eagles, and you got Aaron Donald mixed in between those 2 games. We're on pace to give up a lot of sacks. Kind of makes you wonder if Mr. Bobby Johnson is going to be around for next season, or if they're going to maybe get a new offensive line coach in there. But they got to work on the offensive line. I mean, it doesn't matter who your quarterback is, And once again, you don't have to have 5 first-round picks in there. Right? I mean, you got to work to obviously all the guys' strengths, right? But a lot of things, it's what makes it so tough. You can have the best scheme drawn up in the world, you can have the best coaching staff and all that, but if the guys get injured, and every week it's a revolving door, and you put different guys in there, that makes it very, very difficult. What happened this year? It was like the first 8 or 9 games. Every week the Giants had a different starting offensive line in there. It's tough to get any type of continuity there. I said, you kind of wonder. I said, how do they feel about Bobby Johnson, right? I said, but you don't need first-round picks in every slot. A lot of it has to do with coaching. And if you get the right coach, you get a good coach in here, they can do some wonders. I said, I can never remember the guy's name, but the coach for the Eagles, the offensive line coach for the Eagles, very, very good. Very, very good. But I mean, yes, some of these stats are just like, oh, no. I mean, Tommy, it was 20 out of 34. Once again, with no offensive line, right? And 7 sacks. We had no running game. I mean, a lot of it, goes hand in hand. Do we have a good running game? Not today. We didn't. We couldn't protect the quarterback. And we have no running game. Other than that, everything is just great. I mean, hopefully that they sit down, Shane and Dable and whatever, and they're like, man, this blows. We got this out. We can't. We can't. We got to do something with this offensive line. Yeah, got to do something with this offensive line. All right, let's see here. Got this here. Got some. Sort of a couple articles here from SI.com. Some takeaways. And well, speaking of takeaways, I'll tell you what. I mean, all things aside, this was a very, it was an ugly loss for the Giants. But I mean, all in all, I mean, you got to give the refs credit. Maybe it's not the hit that DeVito took, but there was only 11. The Giants only had 5 penalties for 32 yards. The Saints had 6 penalties for 58 yards. Very, for the most part, clean game. No turnovers. Got to, credit where credit's due on both sides. No turnovers. Once again, Tommy DeVito, no interceptions. Very, very, very good, nice little streak he has going there. Of course, and it was 7-6 at halftime. The one thing that kind of got to you was like, when was it? It was somewhere in the second quarter. The Giants were down. They were in. And speaking of this, before I get off the subject, how about the Scottish Hammer kicking a field goal? Huh? Unfortunately, once again, we got another kicker injured. Oh man, only this season for the Giants, right? But in the second quarter, we were down. I forgot what it was, maybe the 35. Now, I don't know if we could have kicked it because Bullock was actually, after he kicked that the first long one, he was injured, right? So if he had to kick another 50-something yarder, I don't know if he could have. I don't know if we would have to put the Scottish Hammer in it to try to kick. I don't know if we would have gone for it on 4th down. Who knows? You don't know. But the one thing that stunk was that we were in field goal range. Okay, it would have been a 50-something yarder. Might have been a sack. Might have been like a 10-yard sack, I think it was. I can find this out here. Okay, where are we at here? Let's go to play-by-play. Let's see here. So where we got? Field goal, punt. Let's see now here. Somewhere along the line here. 3 plays. Nope. The Giants 10. And a second. Okay, let me see a punt. 14. Nope. Oh, here we go. Yeah. We were at the New Orleans, the 36-yard line. So it would have been a far field goal. It would have been at least a 53, 54-yard attempt. Okay. If it was an incomplete pass or whatever, but he took a 9-yard sack. Brise came in there, 9-yard sack, went from the 36 to the 45, automatically took us out of field goal range. So from right there, we had a punt. So we didn't even get an opportunity to kick a field goal there, right? Not saying, of course, certainly not saying that would have changed the whole dynamic of the game. We certainly would have won if we would have kicked the field goal there. I'm certainly not saying that. But we could possibly had a field goal try, which would have been huge. Possibly we might have been going in at halftime winning the game 9-7. Who knows? But just the fact that we held the Saints only 7 points in the first half was very, very good. But the lack of offense or just reared its ugly head in the second half and doomed us. It says there were enough things to go wrong for the Giants, but the focus needs to be on the offense. From the execution to the coaching to the play calling. Early on, there was a pair of drop deep passes. Yep. The Giants receivers, which had they made, might have set a different tone for the game. Meanwhile, the Giants offensive line continues at an out. Here we go. There we go. And I've never seen numbers like this before. Never. There were 17 games to this schedule, but I've never seen numbers like this. The offensive line continues an out-of-control pace in terms of sacks allowed. And let's not forget last week, they didn't allow any, okay? But they, having surrendered 7 in this game, for those keeping score at home, the unit has now allowed 76 sacks in 14 games, putting it on pace to finish the season with 93 sacks, which would be second most in league history. And that would obviously, that's league history. That, of course, would be numero uno in Giants history. So, and just let's see here. It says we'll dive into the coaching in more detail in just a bit, but can we talk a bit about the game plan? This was a game in which the Giants were about to face a run defense that allowed 130 yards per game on the ground. Yep. And between Breida and Barkley, they got a grand total of 24 yards rushing. 24 yards. So after getting off to a slow start in the first quarter with just 3 yards on 5 rushes, the rushing play selection began being mostly up the gut runs instead of stretch runs that had worked so well previously. Right. The Giants seemed to find themselves in a groove on the ground in the second quarter when they picked up 43 yards on 6 rushes. Then down 7-6 at half, they all but abandoned the running game, only rushing 5 more times for 14 yards. This again against a run defense that came in struggling, an approach that left young quarterback Tommy DeVito to fend for himself behind a leaky offensive line that allowed 7 sacks, 8 hits, and a ton of pressures. Absolutely pathetic. Add to that a lack of defensive pressure, only 1 sack and 2 quarterback hits. Once again, absolutely freaking pathetic. And a leaky secondary that gave up some deep plays and 0 turnovers for us. And that's why the 24-7. The offensive line, I realize, it says in this here, it says, I realize that not all sacks allowed by this unit are on the offensive line, but I think it's fair to say that a significant percentage is on the 5 guys up front. While I feel it is fair to give the coaches the benefit of the doubt, what I continue to find to be alarming about the job with this unit is that the young guys have struggled. John Michael Schmitz has been up and down this season, and there's some question as to whether Sean Harlow, Marcus McKeithen haven't made enough progress or aren't good enough to get on the field despite some glaring struggles. But Justin Pugh. And Mark Lewinsky, that much worse than what we saw today, then he can't get on the field. That has to fall in the coaching, just like the unit struggles to pick up stunts. I counted 2 sacks resulting from stunts. Yes, injuries have been a problem, but the lack of depth that hasn't been deemed ready to step up. It's not a stretch to question how they're being prepared. Yep. It says unsustainable. At some point, the Red Hot Giants defense would have forced 12 turnovers over the past 3 weeks. And they've been playing some very, very good football. Obviously, would eventually have to cool off. That game this week, get no turnovers and only 1 sack. And for the Giants, that's not a recipe for success. That's for sure. No turnovers. Without the defense, who had a day to forget, especially in the defensive secondary, setting up a shorter field for its young quarterback, the Giants ended up being behind the 8 ball. The Saints completed passes to 10 different receivers and around to 218 yards and 3 touchdowns. And let's not even forget, Chris Olave was not even in there. Okay, their best receiver was not even in there, right? Or it could have been even worse. Says 11 of their first downs came through the air, and they converted 50%, 6 of 12 on their third down attempts against the Giants, as well as both of their red zone visits. The result, although the Giants have mathematically been eliminated from the postseason, their playoff hope, you can forget about that. I'm not even going to go over that. The House of Horrors. Yeah, yep. Let's see. Jamie Gillian, the punter, also needed to get checked out at one point, emerging from the medical tent with a wrap on his left leg, his plant leg. And Tommy DeVito looked like his foot was stepped on by one of his offensive linemen late in the game, leaving him limping. Oh, my God. Of course, Randy Bullock pulled a hamstring in the first quarter and could not kick the rest of the game. His status moving forward is a question mark. I mean, how many kickers are you going to lose? I mean, what are we going to lose? Like 13? We lost maybe a punter. We lost 2. I mean, what are the odds of losing 2 field goal kickers in one season? I mean, come on. Unbelievable. See, it's ugly numbers. The Giants have gone 22 games without scoring a touchdown on their opening drive, the longest streak in the NFL. They have also now failed to score a touchdown in a game in 4 games this season, which is absolutely freaking pathetic. That's more than a quarter of their games where they've failed to score a touchdown. Want more? The Giants were 2 of the 12.5% on third downs. Oh, how long for the day receivers run to the sticks on third down like they're supposed to back in the whatever. 0 trips in the red zone, check, and only 3.2 yards per play. 3.2 yards per play. Goodness, is it any wonder why the Giants' offense was so offensive looking, despite running 3 more plays, and somehow they still ran 3 more plays than the Saints. Moving forward, Giants head coach Brian Daboll said he is sticking with DeVito as the starting quarterback. Some might argue that decision doesn't make sense, but in case you haven't noticed, Taylor just doesn't seem to be no, Taylor's not. So, hey, put him in there, and let him take, let him learn. I mean, he's going to learn a lot. He's going to learn a lot against the Eagles, without question. I see that they got this other one here. Let's see. This is from Big Blue View. All right, there we go. Man, we got some good stuff here. The offense was inept. DeVito missed an opportunity on the Giants' first play, underthrowing an open Darius Slayton on a deep ball. Things never got better. There was a great one-handed catch by Saquon, Barkley, to help the Giants get an early field goal on a 29-yard catch and run by Darren Waller in his return to action. But this was about it for the offensive highlights. Yeah. Yep. The pass protection so good a week ago when the Giants did not surrender a quarterback sack for the first time all season crashed back to earth and was generally atrocious. DeVito was sacked 7 times and hit 9 times. Giants quarterbacks have now been sacked an unbelievable 76 times through 14 games, the worst in the NFL. Many of those sacks seem to be disturbingly involved veteran guard Justin Pugh and rookie center John Michael Schmitz being unable to pick up twists and stunts. Yep. That really shouldn't happen in Week 15, especially when this current offensive line has started 5 consecutive games together. They did a good job running them, Daboll said. We didn't do a good job blocking them. Wide receivers didn't do a good enough job getting open or catching the ball. Barkley had 9 carries for 14 yards, 1.4 yards per carry, with a long run of 4 yards. There simply wasn't any place for Barkley to run. And by the end of the third quarter, not much point in handing him the ball. Giants were 2 for 16, 12.5% on third down, total 193 yards of total offense, averaging 3.2 yards per play. The defense was ineffective. Derek Carr had a very good game. He was sacked only once by Jason Pinnock. He was hit twice by Pinnock blitzing and linebacker Bobby Okereke. The defensive line and edge rushers never even touched him. Absolutely pathetic. Carr was 23 out of 28. Good game. Only 218 yards, but 134.9 yard passer rating and 3 touchdowns. No interceptions. There was no pressure on him. And the one thing I said in my video last night was a lot of guys have been talking, a lot of the like older veterans and stuff who've played against Carr in the past have mentioned that one thing you want to do is you want to hit him legally and all, of course, and everything, nothing cheap or nothing like that, but you want to hit him, get him rattled. If you get him rattled, he starts getting happy feet and stuff, and he starts causing some problems, right, for him. And he might start throwing some interceptions, start rattling him a little bit. So the one thing the Giants really could have used here was to get some pressure and get some hits on him, especially early on, and that just didn't happen. Just did not happen at all. And, of course, the score was only 7-6 at halftime, right? The Giants allowed scores on 3 straight New Orleans possessions. Game over. A 70-yard touchdown drive, a 25-yard field goal drive, and a 78-yard touchdown drive to blow the game wide open. Game over. 24-6. You have no offense. Game over. He's a vet in this league, and we didn't do a lot to get him off his rhythm, said Bobby Okereke. They were just executing. They were hitting their shots. They were hitting their checkdowns. Run game was bleeding on us. They just played a more complete game than we did. Dexter Lawrence and Kayvon Thibodeau were non-factors in Sunday's game. And even without their best receiver, Chris Olave, New Orleans did whatever they wanted through the air. The Giants are officially here it says, okay, the Giants aren't officially eliminated. Who the frick cares, dude? They shouldn't even be in the playoffs anyway. They still have the number 7 pick. It says, we're all pros, Dable said. You've got to get ready to play next week. That's our job. This isn't the end of DeVito. Dable said he will continue to be the starting cornerback. It is, though, the end of a magical few weeks for DeVito and the Giants. Now it's back to stark reality that they aren't a very good football team and that 2 of their final 3 games will be against the Philadelphia Eagles. And these games are going to be huge for the Philadelphia Eagles coming up, without question. Huge because, especially with the Cowboys losing, it's all tomorrow night. Especially if Hurts doesn't play, there's a chance the Eagles might lose, which will put them back in. They might be tied with the Cowboys. If they're not tied with, they might have a 1-game lead. So these final games against the Giants could be huge, especially next week. Next week's at home against the Giants. The game's going to be freaking huge for the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, so they ain't resting nobody. It's going to be a heck of a battle for the Giants next week. I don't know how they're going to possibly, try to win that game. I mean, that's going to be a tough one. Real tough one for the Giants. Let's see here. I mean, just some of these stats. I mean, let's say box score. Let's see here. Defense here. Jason Pinnock. Now, of course, you had, what was it? I mean, the one thing is, man, A'Shawn Robinson, 8 tackles. Good for him, man. Good for him. Really, really good. I mean, nice to he had himself a pretty good game. But the one thing that's a little disturbing here is, I guess it was a few weeks ago, couple games ago, right? You had Xavier McKinney, right, led the team in tackles. Okay, it was a couple weeks ago. He had a couple real good games. And I know he led the team in tackles. Then you go last week, okay, and Banks led the team in tackles. Then you go this week, and right now, Jason Pinnock led the team in tackles. So when you keep continually having your secondary guys leading the team in tackles almost week in and week out, that's not a good sign. Not a good sign. It's going to be very difficult for Dexter Lawrence, to lead the team in tackles for the game and stuff like that. But you really like to have your linebackers lead the team in tackles, You don't want to every week in and week out see a different guy in the secondary leading the team in tackles. Right? It's not a very good sign. Not a very good sign at all. Let's see. I said we had 1 sack. That was by Pinnock. Pinnock also got a quarterback hit, and then, as I said, Bobby Okereke. So, I mean, we had 2 quarterback hits and we had 1 sack. I mean, they were just like, let's see here. They had 7 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, 5 passes defense, and here they say 8 quarterback hits. I mean, yeah, they were on top of their game. They were really, But I said, it just goes to show you. Really, just goes to show you. Just goes to show you. The Giants really could use an offensive line. Offensive line. As I said, it's going to be interesting to see what they try to do. I'd be kind of shocked if Bobby Johnson's around. I mean, he was here last year. Did we set the world on fire last year with the offense? No. So why are we still having trouble with stunts and stuff like that? I mean, we're almost at the end of the season, and our second round pick, John Michael Schmitz, very smart guy, still having a hard time picking up stunts and twists and all that and everything. Just got 3 games left. It's hard because if you just look at it, right, with all seriousness, that 3-game winning streak was fine and cute and fancy and all and everything, but I mean, are we there with the Cowboys and the Eagles and the 4? No. I mean, if somehow, even some way, we made it into the playoffs, it's not 2007. We don't have Eli Manning back there. We don't have that offensive line. And I mean, look at what I said. What we did, especially in 2007, the offensive line was fantastic. The defensive front was fantastic, and we had a great, stellar quarterback. Had great wide receivers too. Right? Had a good tight end. Right? We had Plexico Burris. We had Amani Toomer out there. So I mean, we had the weapons and all and everything. So we got certainly they got some more decisions coming up, but I mean they got to learn. They got to do something with this freaking offensive line, and I'd be absolutely shocked if Bobby Johnson is back next season. All right, guys. Well, it's been 42 minutes. It's just I'd like to go on a little bit more, but watching that game was painful enough. Reliving it. Not a little fun. So, whoever's watch me live. Oh, what's up, buddy? Star Wars geek. Yeah. Don't understand why our alliance still sucks. It's been this way for years. Well, I mean, some of it you look at it, with the injuries we had early on, the injuries, it's tough that you want to have that continuity. I mean, in a perfect world, you have the same 5 guys working next to each other. They learn their strengths and weaknesses and all, and they can kind of gel as a unit, and hopefully as the season goes by, and they can get better and better and better. We started putting a hodgepodge of guys in there. I mean, we got Pugh in there. He wasn't our starting guard. We got Tyree Phillips in there. He wasn't our starting right tackle. Andrew Thomas, our left tackle, he missed a bunch of time. He got injured. You also look at it, I mean, to see, just to go to show you how important it is having a good offensive line, or especially one of your main studs. The 49ers, they lost 3 games in a row. Their tackle, left tackle, Williams, he was out, I think, all 3 of those games. They lost all 3 of those games. He comes back, they start winning. They start winning again. So, I mean, it's, now, I don't know if it's just that sometimes, you want to play to the strengths of, that maybe the scheme they're drawing up isn't best for their players. Is it maybe the way they're being coached with Bobby Johnson? He's just not the best coach. I know good coaching is huge. It's huge. If we can find a real good coach out there, a good coach will make a difference. Without question, and we don't need, you don't need, 5 first-rounders on the offensive line, but I mean, with Evan Neal, I don't know, right? He's missed 11 games so far in 2 seasons. Now, how long he's been injury riddled 2 seasons. How many seasons are you going to give him before, you might want to maybe move him to a guard or something. We're going to give him another season next year and maybe hope and pray he stays healthy, and let's see if he can develop. I mean, they got a lot of decisions. A lot of it, I said, a lot of it had to do with the injuries. We got different guys in there. We got depth, but we maybe don't have the greatest depth in the world. We had injuries to our starting left tackle, our best guy. We got it could be another Eric Flowers. But, what they did was, I think it was Washington. See, he either I know he went to Miami too, but somebody, might have been Washington, took Eric Flowers and put him in as guard. And he was okay. He was better at a guard than he was at a tackle. Now, I don't know why the Giants didn't maybe try to slide him in a guard and maybe try him in there, right? I mean, because Evan Neal, his first season at Alabama, he was their left guard. And his first season in the SEC, he did pretty good. According to PFF, his numbers weren't as highly ranked as his other years in Alabama, because he played right tackle for Alabama, then he played left tackle. But, his first season, he was like a freshman or a red-shirted freshman or whatever, sophomore, whatever it was. His first season he played in Alabama, he was their left guard, and he did pretty good. And you look at it like he's got the size and the length and the strength and all that stuff. And a lot of what he has problems with is the speed rushers coming off the edge. Well, when you're a guard, you're not really worried about speed rushers coming off the edge. You're worried about maybe the defensive tackles and stuff or whatever in front of you, right? He's very good. He's very, very good. Maybe getting to the second level. He's very good with double team blocks. He's big. He's strong, right? So if you get him in there guard, maybe have double teams with John Michael Schmitz or whatever, something like that, that might be the ticket. It really might be the ticket. I'm saying, I hate that we're going to keep sticking him out there on right tackle. And it's like, man, no, he's not that good. Well, we'll keep him out there. We'll see if he develops, but he also has to, he has to stay healthy. Your best availability is your best ability is your availability. And if you're not available, right? I said he's played 20 games so far out of possible 31. So he's missed 11 games, right? So he's missed like 35% of his games. And his ankle's bad. I don't know if he'll be back next week against the Eagles either. And it would be a shame because Eric Flowers was pick 9. And Evan Neal is pick 7, right? So 2 top, and this is why it's so crucial, to miss on those picks. I mean, we had Eric Flowers. We shouldn't have missed on that pick, right? Like if you hit on that pick, a tackle at number 9, that should be your tackle for years to come. Heck, Eric Flowers could still be our tackle today. I'm guessing 15? It was 8th season, 9th season. It would be his 9th season. So, right, to 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, this would be his 9th season. So if you took a good tackle, pick number 9, right? If he's that good, right, he could be playing for well over 10 years. So we took him 9 years ago, Eric Flowers. He could still be our tackle today, but we missed on him. And it sets you back. Now you got to find another left tackle. Thankfully, we found a left tackle. Now we got to find a right tackle. So I mean, it's a bunch of things. The guys aren't developing. We don't have the best depth in the world. We had a bunch of injuries. You're kind of questionable. I mean, how is the coaching? So a lot of things, a lot of things. And of course, that stuff for Shane and Dable and all, they try to figure that out. But as long as they specialize, what's really, really good is like a game like this, okay? Because you can also look at it like it's not the 49ers, it's not the Cowboys, it's not the Eagles, who have really good maybe defensive fronts and stuff like that and all. This is the Saints. They don't have a great front four. I mean, they don't lead the league in sacks. They give up a lot of rushing yards and all that. So something like this is really, really good. They can sit down and look. It's like, yeah, we suck. We really suck. Our offensive, this is just trash. I mean, you look at it, and the Saints are a mediocre team. I don't care if they beat us 13 trillion to nothing today. They're a mediocre team. That's all they are. And they kick the crap out of us. So this is absolutely fantastic for Shane and Dave or whatever. They looked at and look at this statement. It's like, yeah, we blow. We are trash. I mean, the offensive line. Yep. Oh, I believe in, I certainly believe in him too. Sure. I mean, he did some wonderful things at Buffalo, especially with Josh Allen. Oh yeah, absolutely. But sometimes you're only as good as your coaches, right? So hopefully they look at this, tape, and it's like, yeah, we got to, we ain't winning nothing. If the offensive line keeps playing like this, we ain't winning nothing. Right? We certainly ain't winning the division. We'll be lucky to make the playoffs. We got to do something about this offensive line. Hopefully, whatever it is, they got to figure that out. They got to figure that out. But they got to make some changes. We just can't take this same core guys and we're gonna work on them and we'll get better now. They got to do something. They got to do something because we got the Eagles coming up next week in Philly, and that could really be ugly. Really be ugly. All right, well, it's been over 51 minutes. My man, Star Wars Geek 85. Good talking to you, pal. Good talking to you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the comments. I greatly appreciate it. It's nice to talk to another Giant fan. So whoever spent any time watching me live, thank you. If anybody spends any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! You too, buddy. Have a good night. Woo! Oh, yeah.